Hi, folks. This is Harold Ree here on the Paw Print Animal Rescue Podcast. Just wanted to let you know that for our first time ever, we will actually be live at the Bay Area Pet Fair in Pleasanton, California on September 16th and 17th. Make sure to visit us at our booth. We'll be interviewing various organizations who are hosting some beautiful animals at the Bay Area Pet Fair. See you soon.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community, episode 134. I'm Nancy Ree.
And I'm Harold Ree.
Today's guest is Mike Murray with Pet Food Express and the Bay Area Pet Fair.
They just need a second chance at a good life. Some incredible animals come out of these shelters. There's police dogs that come out of these shelters. I placed a dog with FEMA years ago. There's now a bomb dog with the Washington, D.C. Capitol Police.
We're excited to have Mike Murray of the Bay Area Pet Fair, which is the largest pet adoption event in all of the great state of California. But before that, going to talk to Nancy about a couple different topics. One is the importance of fostering. With Hurricane Harvey, we've seen the great suffering of the people in Southeast Texas, as well as the many animals. And because of that, it's really brought up the topic of fostering, the importance of fostering not only in Houston, but really across the United States, because as organizations are stepping up across the country to help out with the animals in Houston, it brings up the importance of fostering.
Most of the rescue groups that save animals do not have their own shelter. That means they don't have their own building or facility where they house the animals that they save from the public shelters. It's not like the SPCA, who are a private rescue, but they have their own facility. Most rescue groups are a loose network of people who offer their homes to foster dogs or cats that they save from the shelter. So for these rescue groups, unless there's a home where they can place the animal, they are not able to pull an animal from the shelter. In that sense, fostering is vital to animal rescue because you're providing a home.
As Nancy said, you just simply don't have a physical facility to house literally, tens or in some cases hundreds of dogs and cats.
So once you decide to become a foster for a rescue group, there are a couple of things that you need to know. Things like food, supplies, crates, dog toys, cat toys. Those are normally supplied by the rescue group. And what you're offering is your home. You're offering the housing, and they're offering the supplies, the food, and also medical care. The most important of the medical care is the spay-neuter. The expectation for a foster would be to take the foster dog or cat to the vet to get shots, to get spay-neutered, or any kind of medical attention they may need. Also, very important is most rescue groups require a 6-month commitment to the foster animal. This is because there is no boarding facility, no shelter where the dog or cat can go to if a foster changes their mind. Basically, when you decide to foster an animal, there is no room for regret. You have to be prepared to foster that animal as long as it takes to find a permanent home for them.
If you had a choice between puppies, kittens, or adult dogs or cats, we'd probably recommend, at least starting out, to go with adult dogs or cats. They're usually going to be better chance of being potty trained, kitty litter trained, that type of thing. When you take in puppies and kittens, there's actually a higher likelihood that they might have a little cold or they might be sick. Last thing you want to do is have a little kitten or puppy keeping you up literally all night long because they're just hacking away or they're just having accidents all over the house. Doesn't always happen, but it can happen more likely with a puppy or kitten than it can with an adult dog. So with that said, if any of you are interested in fostering, as you see more Facebook posts about it, the best thing to do is contact your local organization. If they need fosters, a lot of times they actually do have some type of training Usually it'll be a one-day session where they will review all the basics of fostering. So don't just take our word for it. Your local animal rescue organization will have their own resources and their own ways of doing things that will really help you on the road to success, being a successful foster. Now we just want to move on to the Bay Area Pet Fair. We're super excited to have Mr. Mike Murray with us. Nancy has actually been to the Bay Area Pet Fair the past couple years as a volunteer.
If you're thinking about adopting a dog, the Bay Area Pet Fair is a wonderful event to attend because all the rescue groups are there, all kinds of breeds, all kinds of animals. Most of them are dogs and cats, but there's also birds and rabbits, and there might be even farm animals there. Everybody is there. So, if you go to one booth and don't see the pet that you connect with, you can just move on to the next booth. So, you don't have to drive to another rescue or to another shelter, but they're all there. There's also a lot of activities. There might be dogs performing tricks. There's also a lot of vendors, and they offer discounts. A lot of freebies are given out by pet food companies. It's a lot of fun. It can also be very overwhelming. If you're taking children, it's going to be a lot of fun initially, but they can get overwhelmed. Also, if you're taking your own pets, make sure that your pets don't get overwhelmed.
Also, make sure to go onto Bay Area Pet Fair sooner rather than later, because a lot of these organizations do require home checks. And so you want to contact the organizations, especially if you find that one animal who really kind of catches your eye. They may require a home visit. Not everyone, but a lot of them do require a home visit. And you just want to make sure that it ends up being a successful experience for you as well as the potential animal.
So visit the Bay Area Pet Fair this year. Look around, take your time. No need to rush. It's a 2-day event. So best to go on a Saturday and see who's there. Think about it overnight and then go the next day. And hope you'll be able to find your next best friend there.
With that said, here's Mike Murray with Pet Food Express as well as the Bay Area Pet Fair.
It's our 7th annual Bay Area Pet Fair. We started in Marin County, and basically we have just kind of outgrown that facility we were at, and we're moving it this year to the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton. We have a lot more room, a lot more capacity, more animals, more people, more of our vendors, so more of everything. And we've been very successful with adoptions and everything up in Marin, and we expect that to continue even on a bigger scale in Pleasanton.
Was the Bay Area Pet Fair, was that something that Pet Food Express created?
It was a small pet fair that somebody who owned the newspaper Fetch, kind of a pet newspaper in the Bay Area. They put it on for probably 4 or 5 years, much smaller scale, maybe about 10 rescue groups came, and a nice little local event that had just a nice feel to it. When they sold the paper, they could no longer afford to put on the event. So it didn't happen for a couple of years. And I thought it had a lot of potential. I went to the owners, Michael and Mark of Pet Food Express, and said, I think we can make this a big adoption event, involve a lot more people. So we took it over 7 years ago, and that's what we've done. Every year, just kind of grow it in the number of animals for adoption, and basically everything kind of grew at the same level.
Outstanding. As far as number of pets adopted, anything that you want to share?
Yeah, last year, even in the rain in Marin, we adopted out 1,178 animals. And we do that over a period of a week. Even though the pet fair is a weekend event, we count adoptions during the following week also. And the reason we do that, so groups that do home visits can do those home visits. So families are thinking about an adoption, but they're not quite sure on the weekend. They can make that decision and adopt during the week. So we want these adoptions to not only be a lot of them, we want them to be solid. We want them to be, lasting for the entire life of the animal and be a good fit for the family and the animal. So that's why we do it that way.
Sure.
And it seems to work really well. We are probably in the 7 years, right at about 4,700 adoptions total that have come through the pet fair. And we're anticipating probably in the neighborhood of 1,500 this year alone.
We're speaking to Mike Murray of the Bay Area Pet Fair, which is probably the largest pet fair in the San Francisco Bay Area. Is that your understanding, Mike?
It's my understanding it's the biggest pet fair adoption event in the state of California.
Wow.
There's one in Southern California that I believe is the biggest one down there, and that has about 600 animals on site. So we almost double that up here.
Amazing, which is incredible when you think about how many rescue organizations are down in Los Angeles. What is it about Animal Rescue and Pet Food Express?
Well, both owners are big animal lover, big animal advocates, and we don't do traditional marketing. Our marketing is really the work we do in the animal community. It does a lot of good. It lends you to have a good, loyal clientele and people who talk to other people about shopping at Pet Food Express, working with Pet Food Express. So we get a very loyal clientele that's also committed to the welfare of animals. And that seems to be a good fit for us. We don't do TV commercials. If we do any media at all, it's about our rescue partners and about our work in the community. And people have come to expect that from us, and we expect it from ourselves, even on a bigger scale.
I mean, is it fair enough to say that this is the biggest expense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would say it's probably 60 to 70% of our marketing budget for animal welfare is through the pet fair.
If you are a rescue organization, you actually do not charge a fee for them to set up a stand.
Correct. Everything is free for them. The tents we provide, we have some groups that are bringing 50, 60 animals, and we provide them a 40 by 60 foot tent. That's all free to them. Tables, chairs, anything they need to facilitate adoptions, care for their animals. We have a shelter coming from Lake County. We're providing them with basically a shelter setup at the Alameda County Fairgrounds with cover and everything else the animals will need. Everything is provided. Any
particular animals or maybe any particular just rescue stories? Anything stand out to you from over the years?
Yeah, every year there's a couple of special stories. Last year we had a couple of hound dogs, a sibling pair of hound dogs that had been in the shelter for 3 or 4 months, a hard dog to adopt out in the city. They're fairly loud. They howl. A guy came down from a ranch up in the northern part of the state to the pet fair last year and adopted both of them together. And they're living a good life on a big ranch up north of Marin County now. We had a pit bull that was in a shelter for 3 years.
Oof.
And a pit bull that had some puppies and looked a little rough around the edges, but a sweeter dog you couldn't imagine. But she had been stuck at the shelter. She got adopted at the pet fair. You see families with their little kids walking out with the new pet. We had a lady in a wheelchair last year in her mid-80s who adopted a great senior dog who wanted nothing more than to sit in her lap. And that was one of the pictures last year at the pet fair that was so meaningful to people, was her in her wheelchair with a blanket on her lap and the dog just as happy as could be.
Thanks for sharing those stories. Outside of dogs and cats, any other animal species that tend to get adopted?
Oh, yes. We have rabbits. We have birds. We have guinea pigs. Pretty much all creatures, great and small. We've had turtles adopted. We have miniature horse rescue that has come in past years. Almost any animal you can think of has a rescue connected to it. And for one reason or another, they're in need. So there might be people there with reptiles like geckos or snakes, and there would be somebody else there with rats, which make great pets for people. They're very social animals, even though the perception of them is totally different. And like I say, a lot of rabbits and birds and other creatures too.
And not only just a huge number of dogs and cats, but really maybe in some ways a way to introduce yourself to sort of non-traditional animals, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a big variety there for people. And we tell people, even if you're not there to adopt, it's just a great way to learn about a lot of different kinds of animals, whether that helps you or it helps somebody you know who's interested in that particular animal.
Give us the dates again, although you did say it's pretty much the full week, but the actual pet fair, can you give us those dates?
Yeah, September 16th and 17th. The fair is open from 10 to 5 each day. And we'll have a lot of other things going on there besides the adoptions. There'll be entertainment. We have splash dogs. We have music going on in the amphitheater. We're trying to clear a shelter. We're taking the Lake County shelter, bringing all the animals from the shelter. And we're going to try to get every animal from that shelter adopted either through the public or we're asking some of the other rescue groups, if they adopt out a lot of animals, and they take a few from the shelter into their program. And then the third component is a group called Wings of Rescue, who is a group of private planes and pilots who fly animals from high volume shelters to places where there isn't animal overpopulation, places like Idaho, Montana, Washington State. And they're going to be there. So we think that whole trifecta of teamwork, the public, the other rescues, and this Wings of Rescue, we can empty this one shelter in a weekend, and that's our goal.
We've had Wings of Rescue on. They are a tremendous organization. So you are going all out. It's a full court press.
We're trying, yes. And I'm glad to hear you've worked with Wings of Rescue. They are a quality organization.
After you're done, right, you're probably just exhausted after that Saturday and Sunday. How much of a break do you or can you give yourself before you have to think of next year's Bay Area Pet Fair?
Honestly, we take maybe a couple weeks, and then the ideas start to flow for what we're going to do next year. What can we do better? What can we do differently? How can we make a bigger difference? So the thinking, even though we have other programs towards the end of the year that we're involved in, like our Giving Tree program, the thinking on next year's Pet Fair starts, I would say, a couple weeks after the current one ends.
With the Alameda County location, obviously, compared to Marin County, just a lot more space. How are you trying to take advantage of the extra room?
Well, we're putting a lot more out on social media. We're reaching out to groups who that's more within their reach of going to Alameda County rather than Marin County. So groups in the East Bay, groups in the South Bay that traditionally maybe didn't attend will be attending. You've got a base of a couple million people that's in that valley alone.
Absolutely.
Where, so the number of people is greater, space is greater, number of animals available. So everything is in kind of parallel on a bigger scale.
Yeah. I mean, folks like, towns like, Brentwood and Stockton. I mean, even some of those folks, it's instead of driving whatever, 2.5 hours to Marin, it's now less than an hour away in some cases for these folks. So
correct. And we do have groups coming from the Central Valley. We have groups coming down from near Madera and Modesto and Stockton, like you say, and groups down from the San Jose area. And still groups coming from up north, like say from Lake County and Sacramento. And we're pulling from a pretty wide area. A lot of groups who see the value in this particular event and what it's going to mean to their organization.
Feel free to brag a little bit about Pet Food Express. They are a homegrown organization or company. They started in the San Francisco Bay Area. Can you maybe tell a little bit more about Pet Food Express's history?
Yeah, actually, Michael Levy is the founder of Pet Food Express. He was a dog trainer here in the Bay Area about 30 years ago. And he opened a small storefront in San Francisco to basically keep supplies for his dog training clients. And he found out that the retail part of things was maybe a better fit for him. And he opened, I think, 2 or 3 stores on his own. And then Mark Witriol had met him at one of the dog shows here in the Bay Area. And Mark was in the electronics business, but animal lover, and was talking to Michael about his business. And during the course of that conversation, they agreed to have further talks, and Mark bought into the business. And he's been now with the company over 20 years. I came to know them because I do German Shepherd rescue myself here in the Bay Area, and I have for about 25 years. And I started holding adoptions at their stores because I like the fact they didn't sell animals. I like the fact they treated the rescue groups. They always helped me with a crate or with food. And, it wasn't done for publicity. There was really, back then, no Facebook, no big social media presence. They just did it because they seemed like they thought it was the right thing to do. So I was in a totally different industry, but about 12 years ago, I wanted to get into the pet industry. And this is the first company I approached for those reasons. And they told me at the time that they were looking for somebody who knew the rescue and shelter world to run their community outreach programs because they wanted what we had available to go to where the greatest need was. So they created this job for me 12 years ago. And I got to tell you, I love it. And when I started, we had 20 stores. And what I truly appreciate about these guys, in addition to everything else, as the company has grown, so has a commitment to giving back. So it's not just a matter of, we'll do this so much to look good and sound good. As more resources have become available to us, more stores have been available, they've stepped up their giving. And we work with over 250 rescues and shelters throughout the state of California now. So it's a pretty big number. And I'm just really proud of the fact that they will almost always give me the okay to go out and do something that helps and makes a difference somewhere. And they don't ask for a lot of attention because of it, which on one hand, people question it, but on the other hand, I respect it too, the fact they do it because they think it's the right thing to do.
It's great to hear the history of Pet Food Express. I think a lot of rescue groups will tell you Pet Food Express is the most supportive retailer for a rescue group. You have everything from, as you mentioned, German Shepherd rescue, Greyhound rescue, just traditional, dog and cat rescue. You'll find them more often than not at your local Pet Food Express. So thank you really for all you do 52 weeks a year.
Well, it's a pleasure to work with the people we work with, interact with people like yourselves that help spread the message. So it's kind of a win-win all around. And everybody feels good at the end of the day that we've all made a difference in our own way. Tell
us a little bit about why rescue animals? Why should folks consider a rescue dog, cat, bird, or rabbit?
Well, there are so many animals that end up in rescue every year, and millions of them across the country get euthanized. And they get euthanized because their shelters are out of space and out of time, not because they want to put these animals down. They just don't have anywhere else to put them. And it ranges from truly situations where people can't keep their animal for legitimate reasons to people who are now giving up the senior animal because a puppy is going to be cuter and they're going to want to get a new puppy. And so we always tell people that, again, they're not damaged animals. They're animals that were just in the wrong situation. They just need a second chance at a good life. And some incredible animals come out of these shelters. There's police dogs that come out of these shelters. I placed a dog with FEMA years ago. There's now a bomb dog with the Washington, D.C. Capitol Police. They have little terriers that go check the detention centers for liquid heroin on envelopes in detention centers. All kinds of jobs for these animals, besides being wonderful family pets. And so there's a lot of, there's an industry we call backyard breeders, which are people who breed strictly for money. They don't really care who they sell to. There's no follow-up. You get an animal from a rescue organization, you're pretty much going to have a lifetime partner for that animal. They're going to be there with you to support you. They're going to want to know how the animal is. And that's a difference too. You really have a partner in this kind of an adoption. So we encourage it because we see the kind of animals that come out here. Mark comes to work with his 3 rescue dogs. Michael comes to work with his rescue dog. And, there's a lot of reputable breeders out there. We're not saying there isn't, but there's millions of great pets in shelters. So why not consider them? Why not look there too?
Well said. Thank you, Mike. If someone was going to, or if you were going to give advice to a potential adopter, any sort of strategy or tips you might offer to some folks who are really looking to the Bay Area Pet Fair as that one place that they might find their companion animal?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost is, what is the right situation for your family? Is it a single family home? Is there a lot of kids in the home? What's the activity level? What really makes sense for your family? How active are you going to be with that pet? How much do you need that pet to be independent on its own? And once you honestly determine that, then look at an animal that's going to fit. Are you looking for a dog? Are you looking for a cat? Do you think a bunny would be a good pet? Do a little research on those. And then look at the list of animal groups that are coming to the pet fair and go to their websites and look at some of the animals they have in their system. And you can email them with questions, or they'll often have most of their animals on their website to look at. So if you determine that your family is going to be a good candidate for maybe a lab-sized dog or a Cocker Spaniel, go visit some of these groups, look and see who they have, and chances are you're going to find an animal that fits that criteria. But the most important thing is make sure it's a right fit for you and a right fit for the pet.
Thanks for all this great information. We really appreciate it. I think it's going to help folks really manage their own expectations as they prepare to visit some of these great animals at the Bay Area Pet Fair. So thank you.
No, well, thank you. And getting the word out helps tremendously. So we really appreciate folks like yourself helping get the word out and helping people make that decision.
When you think about how many people help out with the Bay Area Pet Fair, can you think of the numbers as far as the number of people involved in actually making this a successful event?
Well, just people Pet Food Express related wise, it's in the hundreds.
Right.
Because you get everybody from the warehouse to accounting to almost every department in this company touches it. And then you've got probably well, if not 1,000, close to it in rescue volunteers and people who come out and put in their time to bring animals in, help handle the animals, show them to the people, all the different components. So I'd say there's well over 1,000 people, Pet Food Express and the rescue community involved putting this on.
And I just like to just challenge all our listeners that, hey, if you're going to visit the Bay Area Pet Fair, just make sure to take a moment to thank the various people involved, because a lot of these folks are truly taking a weekend to spend on really helping you find that perfect animal, right?
Absolutely.
What's the best way for people to look up the Bay Area Pet Fair, whether it's online or on social media?
Best way is online, because that'll send you to the social media. So it's www.bayareapetfair.org.
All right.
And that'll not only give you all information on the website, but take you to the Facebook and other social media outlets too.
Give us the dates again for the Bay Area Pet Fair.
Absolutely. September 16th and 17th. Hours are 10 to 5. Parking is free. The admission is free. We just want you to come down and have a good time. If you find the right lifetime pet partner, then all the better.
Absolutely. And at the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, California. One last question. Over the past few days, we've had this horrible event happen in Southeast Texas, Hurricane Harvey. And of course, whether it's Hurricane Katrina or any other disaster, the impact is not only felt by humans, but a lot of times it's felt by animals, right? The dogs and cats.
Correct.
What's your initial reaction to all this?
Well, one of the things, and it's been a topic of conversation around here the last few days too, obviously, and one of the things that was learned by Hurricane Katrina is that the local shelters had to be emptied of the stray animals and have them sent to other facilities where they could find homes, and leave the local shelter open for the animals that were there in the area to be claimed by their owners. So a group we talked about earlier, Wings of Rescue, is actually down in the Houston area, flying some of the animals that were strays in the Houston area shelters to Tennessee, to Ohio, to different places where they will be safe, they will find homes, but that empties the Houston shelters for the local animals to come in, get the care they need, and be able to be reunited with their families. What happened in Hurricane Katrina, the animals got distributed, the local animals got distributed out because the local shelter was full, and it was hard for people to reconnect with their pets. So that's one thing everybody learned from Katrina that I think is being put in place now in Houston, and certainly people like Wings of Rescue are instrumental in helping, and all the local rescues and shelters here in the Bay Area are ready and willing to do whatever they need to do, whether that's taking animals from that area or what. But that's one of the improvements I think you'll see in this situation over what happened in Katrina.
We just want to say thank you to Mike Murray, as well as the rest of the Pet Food Express family, for doing so much for supporting animal rescue in the San Francisco Bay Area. Make sure to check out their event Saturday and Sunday, September 16th and 17th. You can find out more about the Bay Area Pet Fair by going to our show notes. This is pawprint.com/134. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of Paw Print, you can go to your favorite podcast app like Apple Podcasts, search for Paw Print Animal Rescue, and make sure to hit the subscribe button to get the latest episodes immediately. If you'd like to follow me or Nancy on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Search for @ThisIsPawPrint, all one word. We just want to continue to send positive thoughts and prayers to the people in Southeast Texas dealing with Hurricane Harvey. Make sure to be thoughtful in organizations that you give to. There are some wonderful organizations out there. All the music you hear on Paw Print is composed, produced, and performed by the great Luke Gartner-Brereton. You can find his website at info.vanillagroovemedia.com. Thanks for sharing Paw Print with your friends and family. We're now at 134 episodes, and we couldn't have done it without your support, so thank you. And remember, you spread a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Paw Print.
Is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.